You're on.
Hey, Breaking Brown family, how are you? It is Yvette Carnell coming to you once again to talk about politics, the news of the day, everything that is important to your life. As usual, I want to give you a little bit of time to get yourself situated, get a little bit of time to do what you need to do what's necessary. We're going to do what's necessary here. We just want to give you all a moment, put the kids to bed, or get them to watch the show. If they're old enough for that sort of thing to understand politics. But I want you to just take a moment, get you some popcorn, get you some snacks, do what you got to do. And remember, as always, I want you to share. I want you to share this show. If you're on Facebook, share. If you're on YouTube, I want you to like this video. I want you to like it if you're on Facebook. I want you to subscribe if you have not subscribed already. You can go to Donate Brown to donate, go to Subscribe to Brown, and you can go to breakingbrown.com and you can subscribe for a monthly donation to the show to kind of keep us going. But we're going to talk today. Thank you. I see Bernard Timberlake. Thank you. I appreciate it. We are going to talk today about something that came across my desk, and I think it's important for reasons that a lot of other people may not think it's important. Those of you who follow me on Facebook know that I posted an article the other day about a black cashier, a Walmart cashier. That's important. A Walmart cashier who gave money to a white family. That's going to be our topic for today. So, I think it's going to get lively. It's going to get loose. So get you some popcorn. Do what you got to do. Get yourself situated. I'm just going to give it a little bit more time for more people to kind of flow into the conversation, because I don't want anybody to get into the conversation and not know what's going on with the conversation.
Give a shout out to the sharers.
Come into the middle.
They're trying to help us out. Give a shout out to the sharers.
Who?
Shout out to the sharers, the people sharing right now.
Oh, the sharers. I thought you said the sheriffs. I'm like, what the sheriffs do for me?
No!
Oh.
No.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to people who have shared. What's up, Sean?
Good.
Hey, family. We got
Krista Mendoza.
Crazy. We got Crystal Mendoza up here. We got everybody on the people flowing in. I appreciate you.
Paul Wilson shared. Thank you for sharing, Paul Wilson.
Thank you for sharing, Paul. I appreciate everybody who shares, because when you share, that means more people get to see it.
Right.
And I can't see because I'm looking here and I'm looking, so I can't see everybody that share it. But when you share it, more people get to see it. We can expand and have this conversation with everybody. Because one of the problems that we have is that we're isolated. Like we talked about that here last week. A lot of us are isolated, and so we feel alone. We got to share this and have this conversation and be able to make this conversation. If you had this conversation somewhere else and they're not talking to you, and they don't want, and people are saying bad things, this woman is crazy, tag me if you can. I'll come in there and defend you. I'll come in there and defend my beliefs. You won't be in there by yourself. Tag me or inbox the event. They own me again. They own me in my. They don't like what you said and they own me. I'll come in there and we'll nip that in the bud. But let's get back to our topic for today. Our Walmart. The Walmart cashier who was touched in her heart to buy $100 worth of groceries for a white couple. A white family, because it wasn't just a couple, this was a family. She was touched to give money to this family, this white nuclear family, mom and dad. She was touched. They have a babysitter at home. But she was still touched in her heart to give money to this family. And so I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about what that means. You all know I like to frame everything. Everything I do is about framing, right? I have to frame it because that's what everybody does. Everybody frames something in a way that they want you to kind of understand it. You have to understand that nobody's honest. Everybody's framing something in a certain way. So I want to frame this in a way that connects it to what I've been saying and why this woman here, this I'm sure she's a very, very lovely yellow-haired woman. But why this woman here and what she's thinking, there are gaps in her learning, and why the gaps in her learning are problematic to the rest of us. I want to talk about why the gaps in this woman's learning are problematic and what she needs to do to fix those gaps and what we all need to do to understand those gaps and what it means. So first of all, let's go through this story. For you all who don't read, it's also on my page. It was from Yahoo and it's spread like wildfire since then. What this woman did, she said, after seeing this couple, because she saw a couple, it was a couple, a married couple, white man, white woman, white baby, The baby's acting up, and the woman's bought like $200 worth of stuff. $200 worth of stuff in her buggy. Two buggies full of stuff. And the woman says, I don't really like going to Walmart because the people are rude. But the woman got $200 worth of stuff in her buggy. Right? She comes through the line, and the black woman says, her name is like Shanique. I don't want to mispronounce her name, so I'm not going to say it. So the black woman says, it touched me in my heart. I heard a voice. The black woman says, I heard a voice tell me, help these people. And the voice also told her to pay $100 on these people's groceries. And it was over $200. The bill for these people was this family that has a babysitter at home. This white woman who has a husband who's standing right beside her in the checkout line. The black woman decided it was in her heart. It fell in her spirit. You know, I hear people say that it fell in my spirit. It fell in her spirit to help this woman and pay for her groceries. Now I want to tell you, because a lot of people are going to tell me, oh, Yvette, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? I don't understand. She was just being nice, and what's wrong with that? We need more nice people. Let me tell you what the problem is. This woman is a problem. Let me tell you why she's a problem. She's a problem, and when I talk about reckless black people, here's what I mean. When I say black people who are being reckless with their lives, I mean black people who don't understand that they're poor. To be reckless and be a black person is to not understand who you are and to not understand the consequence of blackness. That is what that is, and that's what she did. When you say, well, how'd she do that? Here's what she did. This woman just subsidized a white nuclear family. This woman just subsidized people who have everything in their lives that she does not have in hers. Hear me clearly. She just subsidized a family that has everything in their life she doesn't have in hers. Now, I'm not saying that, well, maybe I couldn't see her left hand.
We don't know what she has, though.
We don't know what she has. That's what I'm getting into. Okay. I couldn't see her left hand. So I don't know if she's married, but I know that she doesn't have the advantage that white people even, and let me tell you how I know. Let's break it down, please. The data tells me, I don't have to know your individual life. The data tells me that you work at Walmart. That's what the data tells me. The data tells me that the middle black family has $1,700, while the middle white family has $100,000, and even poor white people have $10,000 in wealth. We're talking about wealth. The data tells me what your life is. I don't have to know you individually. That's why it's so hard to lie to me now. Because I don't have to know you individually. I don't have to know who you are. I don't have to know your name. I know your story because the data ain't nothing but, Antonio Moore said something. He said the data is people. And that's what it is. The data is people. The data talks about the patterns in your life. The data speaks to your life. So I know you work at Walmart. That's what I know. And I know you have a husband. And I can look at the data and say that most black women have, are living in, for a lot of reasons, and there's no judgment there, not for me, but are living in one parent household. So if you do have a kid, and I don't know if you have a kid, but if you do, I know what that means, right? In terms of your finances. And even if you're a single black woman, we just saw the data come out that showed that single college educated black women have $11,000 in debt. And single black women who don't have a college education are at zero. So I know where you are. I know where we all are. And I know you don't have the money to be giving this white woman and her husband $100. You know why you did that? Because you don't understand what $100 means. Now, let's go to, let's go to the next clip, because there's another clip. There's another clip that shows the salary, because somebody told me she's not just a cashier, she's a customer service manager. Now, if you look at if you look at what a customer service manager earns in terms of salary, and they pay hourly, you come to terms in terms of what money she has and what money she doesn't have. I have people say, well, we don't know whether she has money or not. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Are you ready for it to come up?
Yeah.
Are you ready to tell the people? Here it comes.
Tell the people. Put it up.
And it's up.
Look at what she's making. She's making $11 an hour. Let's talk numbers. Let's talk numbers. I like to talk numbers. You know what $11 an hour means? That means that she just gave that white woman, like once you look at the net and everything, she gave that white woman 9 hours of her time. That white family, not just a white woman, she gave a white family 9 hours of her labor. Isn't reparations just about us giving away free labor? all those years, you just gave this white woman 9 hours of your labor that you'll never get back, that probably could have been better spent on your family, which probably could have been better spent on your kids, if you have any, which probably could have been better spent on your cousin, brother, uncle. Somebody got some kind of need, and that's why you labor for that long. So you gave her a day's worth of full-time work, a little bit over a day worth of full-time work. But since you can't count, we're in a position there as black people, we can't count. So since you can't count, you don't understand that that's just what you just did. And you don't understand the restrictions of poverty. What I want to talk about is you have to understand the restrictions of poverty and what that means for your life. You can't be, if you're black and you're not in the top 1% of black people, you can't afford to be whimsical in terms of your money. You got to know your group. And white people can't be mad at me. Because white people always say, well, black people need to do for themselves and take care of their own neighborhoods. What we trying to? Taking care of black people means letting you just put some stuff back. You might have to go put some of them 2 buggies back. I can't help you, but I can hold your place in line while you go and decide what you're going to put back on the shelf. That's what you got to do. I'm not trying to be mean. Like a lot of people be like, well, Yvette, why are you being so mean? I'm not being mean. Let me tell you, it's almost as if we're in a natural habitat. It's like being in a cage with lions and tigers and bears and everything that's going to attack you. And you are thinking from a moral headspace of, well, I have to do unto the tiger as I would want the tiger to do unto me. But the tiger not going to do that. The tiger going to eat you because he sees you as food. You can't be that way. A while ago, I mentioned something on the show. I said that you ever see a white woman with some money pass by a black homeless man, or even a black homeless woman, but it's more black homeless. You ever seen her pass by a black homeless person? She don't even see that most of the time, unless she's just, empathetic and she's trained herself to not be a part and not think from the position of that white privilege. She don't even see him. He don't even exist. She looks past him. He might as well be trash on the street, a can, a gum paper, anything that you might see in a city anywhere. She don't see him as a person, an individual in need of help. What I'm telling you is you got to be clear about your group. And you can't see every other group that's in need of help because you squander all of your resources and you don't have a lot of resources. That's the point I'm trying to get across to you. $11 an hour. And part of this has to do with the fact that what I'd like to tell people, part of it has to do with the fact that you might ask, why do we do this? Why in the world would she do something like this and give away and she has family, and she's working at Walmart? Because and I want you to listen closely to this, she, like so many of us, because of what we've been through, there's no judgment here. There's just learning. I'm not saying she's a bad person. There's learning because of what she's been through. She, like a lot of us, require validation and vindication from white people. Let's say that one more time. We are in a space, and we've been here for a long time, where we require validation and vindication from white people. We want to let white people know, because of everything they see on TV and everything, in the back of our mind, not subconscious, we want them to think we're good people. And I'm going to take this opportunity to prove to you that I'm a good person.
Or that we have money.
I'm not broke. I'm not the thing that Donald Trump described. I heard Donald Trump said I'm broke. I want to show you. that I'm not broke. I want to prove to you that black people are doing well too. That's what you have. And I'm going to say this, but requiring validation and vindication is something that kids do with parents. Kids want that from parents. That's why they run up to them all the time. And, oh, you like my picture, daddy, mommy, whatever, because that's your mama, that's your daddy. And I just want to tell you, just like white people are not our parents, we're grown people. And you have to look, you don't have the luxury. That's charity and stuff. Like if you are Walmart, the billionaires who own Walmart, charity is something you can really do and get into. But Walmart isn't paying this woman enough to get into charity. That's not what's happening. They're not paying her enough to do this kind of thing. And what she really, if she understood what this means, what she really would do would say, listen, I'm going to make sure that Walmart has something for people who get in the line and don't have enough money. Walmart would tell her no, and they're billionaires because they're hoarding money. But how is it you can't be? You are more. This woman is more moral. She has less, but she's more moral than Walmart, than the billionaires who own Walmart. They're selfish and they're hoarding everything. You can't be on the bottom and be giving everything away, and then everybody on the top is hoarding everything and expect for things to change. And you say, well, Yvette, who would you give your who would you have me give things away to? Your group. Your group, first and foremost, your group.
Well, we have a YouTube comment, Mr. Reverend Raynard Blake Jr. Reverend.
That's some kind of name.
Yeah, Reverend Raynard Blake Jr. has a great idea who she should give the money to. She said, sis, money would have been better spent supporting this show. I'd
have bought a light bulb and some other stuff. Listen, it would have, because that's what we do. That's what we do. You could have given the money to me. You could have given the money to a lot of others. You could have given it to me and Ivan. You could have given it to anybody. Yeah.
We get an ad budget. We get an ad budget. We go out to more people. We lift better black politics, get contracts into black communities. I'm just saying.
It would have been a benefit. And I'm sure you got family you could give it to. And I'm sure, let me tell you something else you could do with that money. You could save it. Because guess what? I saw an article somebody put up on my page that shows that Walmart is big into this artificial intelligence stuff, and they're playing around with the idea of opening up places with no cashiers. You know what that means for you? You might not have a job. You don't have the luxury of being like this. It's not just black people. It's mostly it's us, certainly, because we're already at the bottom. But you see white people rebelling against this. What that means is that when you see white people rebelling, let me tell you what that means. That means we're insecure. When you see white people start rebelling, that means we're in a very insecure space. When white people start saying, I'm not going to take it anymore, and this ain't the America that I bought into, we're insecure. That means that you take your little whatever you got and you put them away. Like a squirrel hiding nuts. You just throw them things away. You just stack them. And if somebody in that group needs it, then you say, hey, I got you. And what I want to do is say, what we should all do is say, hey, if you need me and you're not reckless in terms of your life or what you're doing and you understand that you're black, when you need you, I got you too. But you can't have a white family in the line who got a babysitter at home, and they had 3 kids. 3 kids, 1 kid with them, babysitter at home, 2 buggies full of stuff, and you running yourself around to the other side and swiping the card and saying you look like you deserved a blessing. That's not something that you can do. And I think what we talked about before is how white capital takes advantage of us just being crazy. I mean, put up clip number 3. I'll be like, what? Like how they take advantage of us just being off. It's something that this is something that, in terms of solutions, it's something that we can fix. We can just stop being off. We can just understand that we're around predators. And when you're around predators, that's who you got to be. It's not something that you did. It's not your fault. It's not our fault. But that's how you got to be. You can't be this person. There's no room for all of this morality. There's no room for, in my mind, all this moralizing. Because we're in a space where you can't be. What does it mean if you're moral and you're in a space with a bunch of people who are immoral? Tell me what that looks like.
You might be a sucker. You might be confused.
You might be confused and dead. Like if you're in a space where everybody else is immoral and doing immoral things and trying to take you out and doing stuff to undermine you all the time, and you're like, here, have $100. It might be bad for you. It might be bad for all of us if you have that mentality. And I just kind of wonder, I'm sure this woman's a nice person, but I can't help but wonder, would she have done this for if a homeless black woman came up to her car window and knocked and be like, can you help? I wonder would she have been like, ma'am, I'm going to give you $20 or $5. Or would she have just rolled her window up? I wonder if this was ego in terms of search for attention, as opposed to just trying to help out. Or I saw a family in need, because their card didn't get declined. The woman was just scrounging around in her pocketbook. Give her time to find her money. She got a husband that works, and she's a stay-at-home mom. She's a stay-at-home mom. When last time you been a stay-at-home mom? You work at Walmart, and it was Saturday when this happened. You're not a stay-at-home mom. You know, it just doesn't make any sense to not understand the restrictions of working at Walmart and what that means for your life. It just makes no sense. You know, it just did we get that clip up?
Yeah, we're having some trouble. We're still running.
So I mean that's because we have a lot of them to go tonight. So I hope it fixes itself. It just makes no sense in terms of being black, and like I said, black people who are reckless are people who don't understand what it means to be black. And somebody said the poor give to the rich all the time. Yeah, it's a trickle up. They said it's a trickle up. It is. It is. And you're still giving to somebody who at least can take advantage of their privilege if they don't have nothing else. That's who you're giving to. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And when I think about and ask myself, Yvette, like, why would she do that? Why did she do that? When I think and ask myself that, the answers that I come up with, are that she doesn't understand the data. She doesn't know the data. Because the data would have stopped her from doing this.
Would have said, quit that.
No, you got to start seeing people with a little number. Like when you see people walk by, you need to start seeing people with a little number over their head. Start seeing people with a little number over their head. Poor white people, 10,000. Middle white family, 100,000, whatever. And understand that you're always lied to. That nobody ever tells you like, yeah, I'm going to be getting $30,000 when my grandmama died, her house. And she got a couple. Nobody ever tells you that. Nobody ever tells us that. So they tell us people communicate and connect to black people through struggle. That's what you got to understand. How they talk to us is about struggle. So they always talk to us, yeah, girl, I'm suffering too. I had a problem with the light bill. They don't tell you about anything else because that's not how they communicate with us. They don't communicate us that way. They communicate with us through struggle. So they're never going to tell us when they come up because that puts them in the space of being an outsider. They're not going to do it. So what I'm trying to say to you is that this is a problem. And another, you can't, it's not just that she can't afford it. It's that you work at a place where there are billionaires. That the owners are billionaires. Okay? Billionaires. And you should ask yourself why they can't do it. That's what you should ask yourself. But if she knew the data, it wouldn't be a problem. So let me just she doesn't, I don't know if this woman has kids or not. But most women in this country will, a lot will eventually, if able, have a child. Start a family. And so what occurs to me is that if this woman understood the cost of starting a family, if she understood the cost of that, we would have a very different situation. All right? If she understood the cost of that, this would be different to her. It would even feel different to her. Well, what do I mean? What do you mean, Yvette, under the cost? Well, tuition is up 150% since the time I'm talking about from the time millennials are paying for it, from boomers, up 150%. The cost of a house is 3 times more than it was when boomers were around. Food expenses are higher. Everything's higher. It costs over $200,000 to raise a kid. $13,000 a year for one kid. Now let me explain something to you. I'm not talking about the cost of the $200,000 cost is just the cost of raising a regular little ragamuffin kid who goes out and maybe gets a regular job, maybe he doesn't. The cost of raising a highly functional adult is well over $400,000. If you want 2 kids, if you want to raise a highly functional adult, that cost is over $800,000. How do I know that? We've done all sorts of segments on this show about what it takes to, in terms of, we did the stuff, there's a great video Antonio Moore and I went on, where we talked about the balls that these kids, these wealthy kids have to learn programming at a young age. All the programs need to be into. We talk about what you need to leave your kid in order to make them functional. Okay? You have to pay for their college. There's not going to be that whole student loan stuff. That's going to eventually go the way of the dodo bird. Ain't nobody going to eventually be paying for us to go to school like that. Can you pay for your kids' college? Can you leave them inheritance? And then the cost of taking care of them, the cost of sending them to different places, the cost of sending them to different classes, all of that stuff goes into, can you give them a down payment on their first house or give them their first house? All of that goes to the cost of raising a highly functional adult. This is an adult who is not insecure. This is an adult who is not insecure. Okay? This adult has his own. He has some resources to pull from so that he's not insecure. You're giving him wealth transfers in vivo during life. You're giving that kid wealth transfers. You're not telling that kid, well, you're growing and you're on your own. That's not what happens in terms of how you raise highly functional adults. So if she has a kid or if she's going to have a kid, do you have $400,000? I just want to know. Do you have $400,000 sitting around so that you can raise a highly functional kid? And if you don't have $400,000 or even $200,000 to raise a basic kid and provide like basic nutrition, I don't understand why you feel like you can give $100 to some random woman you don't even know who has a nuclear family, who has a babysitter at home, who has 2 buggies worth of groceries, who has all of that stuff. Why do you feel that you have that? Somebody said the guy next to him pays $1,800 a month in daycare. Yeah, because you got to get these kids started early. In terms of not just, you don't want somebody at daycare just to diaper the kid or whatever, especially if they're a certain age. You want somebody that's going to teach this kid how to do stuff. You want somebody that's going to set them on the path to understanding so that they're ahead of the curve when they go to that good school. And do you have the money to send your kid to a good school? Do you have the money to live in a secure neighborhood where the school is good because the property taxes are high? That all adds into the cost of raising a highly functional adult. All of that in vivo transfers wealth, all of that. You don't see Donald Trump taking hands off his kids, do you? No, because he understands that I have to steer them for as long as I'm here. I'm putting them in deals. I'm doing all that stuff. Do you have that? Do you have that? What exactly are you trying to pass on to that kid? What do you think? Do you think having a kid is like having some type of animal at a zoo or something? I mean, do you think that all you're supposed to do with a kid is feed and water it? And even if you give them that stuff, that's still a disadvantage. But okay, you got the resources. I paid for college so you're not in debt. I bought your first house or your first condo. Okay? I'm going to give you inheritance when I pass on. And not just talking about an insurance policy. I'm talking about give you inheritance. I'm going to leave you some liquid money in an account. Do you have that? If you don't have that, then I just don't understand what you're talking about. I just don't understand why you're giving away $100. So do you want to take a quick break now?
Well, someone said a funny comment that I wanted to read out loud on YouTube. We got Quid.
Who Quid?
Quid Pro Quo 08 says, she's the kind of Negro woman that will snitch on a black person at work. I have worked with these ass-kissing women. We don't know if that's true. We don't know anything about her. We don't know anything about her.
We don't know anything about her.
But Quid Pro Quo 8 says he does. I'll just let that.
Yeah, somebody said she needs $100 back right now. She gonna need that $100 back. She gonna need that $100 back before next week. You make $11 an hour. That puts you on the bottom quintile. That puts you on the bottom quintile. We don't understand the restrictions of poverty. We don't understand the restrictions of poverty. So did you want to go now?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Okay, listen. You gonna take a break or you gonna end this one or no?
We're gonna end this one. Be right back.
Okay, everybody, listen. We're gonna just end this video real quick because we can't get the clips up. The other clips up. So we're gonna end this one real quick, but we're gonna come right back. So we're gonna end this one, then just go to it's gonna broadcast Facebook Live again. We're gonna just start it over again, which will be kind of good though, because we can do it in 2 parts on YouTube. So just don't go nowhere. We're going to start this, and we got some other stuff to talk about, because I'm going to talk about why she's so confused, and I'm going to talk about part of what I believe is making black people in this country so confused. So let's just do that. We're going to come right back. We're going to be right here. Don't go nowhere.
You know what they can do right now then? They can go to Breaking Brown.
You can go to breakingBrown.com and donate. You can go to Donate Brown and donate. You can go subscribe to Brown. Also, if you like this stuff, share us on Facebook. Share us on YouTube. Like it on Facebook, YouTube. Share it with your friends. If you into Twitter, tweet it. And we're going to be right back.
Go.
Hey, black people, we're back. Take some time for everybody to fill in. But while we take time, I want you to look at that picture. You see that picture right above me? I want you to look at that picture. Take a look at that picture. I want you to look at that picture and I want you to tell me what you see. I'm just going to give a little while for everybody to come in here and fill in and everything. Do we have the title? You can bring it down a little bit.
The title of the picture? Yeah.
Yeah. Bring it down just a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Yes. I want everybody to come back. See, I told y'all not to go nowhere. And y'all went somewhere. So let me give a chance for everybody to fill in. And then we're gonna talk about this picture. And y'all went somewhere. Let me just give you all a chance to let me give everybody a chance to fill in. And I talked about how this picture right here. This picture that you're looking at right above my shoulder is of a black man who adopted some white children. And we all know how disproportionate it is for black kids to be in, to be in need of adopting. Disproportionately. And so what I'm saying is that in the comment I made earlier, and he talks about family is deeper than skin color. Race is not skin color. Race has meant much more in this country than skin color. So what I mean is that even the good-hearted black people are a lot of times advantaging people who are not black, and white capital takes advantage of this particular kind of crazy. This particular kind of crazy is something that white capital takes advantage of. It's nothing new. It's nothing different. And you have to ask yourself what this means for you. You have to ask yourself what it means to be in this era. All of these things are questions that you have to ask yourself. And you have to check yourself all the time and make sure that I'm not being crazy. Because the world is not going to give me room to be crazy. Okay? It's not going to give you room to be crazy. Put up 4 and then 5 and 6 because we didn't get a chance to put that up last time. And put that up in terms of, let me just show you the data in terms of cost. If it'll come up, I just want you to see the data in terms of cost, in terms of tuition, in terms of everything. The data is clear. What are you doing?
Tuition's up.
Yep. So the data is clear. The tuition data is clear. How are you going to raise a highly functional kid with that kind of increase? Have you thought about that? Do you have a plan about that? Or are you just doing this because it makes you feel good? You got to have a plan. You got to have a plan for that.
Housing data is up.
Okay.
Housing costs 3 times more.
Housing costs 3 times more. Did you see that? And this is all from another article that I'll put up. But
that was a complicated one. You're going to have to talk them through this one.
Which one is it?
It's
housing. Look at the housing costs.
Tell the people what this means.
This means that everything's more expensive. This means your house is more expensive.
It also means don't listen to your parents' advice.
Don't listen to your parents' advice. Your parents should have passed you down their house. This means that your house is more expensive. This means that everything in your life is more expensive. And we're making less. Wages in this country have been stagnant since the 1980s, late 1970s, really, wages have been stagnant. So everything's going up in cost, and we're making less money. And you giving away $100 at the checkout line. Do you understand what that means for you? Do you understand what that means for your life, for your kid's life? That could be $100 more you could donate to your kid. I mean, you could pass down to your kid when you're gone. Because how much money you gonna leave your kid? Or do you even think about that? Does it something that even occur to you? Food expenses are higher. There's a good graph on food expenses. Everything is more expensive. And that's a problem. It costs $233,000 to raise a kid. Do you understand what that means? Do you understand how expensive that is? And so what I want to get to now as I kind of come to a close, I want to get to why I think we're confused. Like, there are a number of reasons why we're confused. But I want to talk about why I think we're the most confused. Okay? I want to talk about what gets in the way of us understanding real life in this country. We should understand it, but we don't. And I want to talk about what that is. Put up, I think it's clip number 11.
Yes, sir.
In terms of what we don't understand and why we don't understand it. We have a lot of racial confusion. It's racial confusion. We don't understand the consequence of blackness because we're always around white people. You go to Ruby Tuesdays, you might be around white people. You go to Cheesecake Factory, you might be around white people. You go shop. You have black people that go to Neiman Marcus. You're around white people who have real money, so you think I'm like them. I'm like those people. Because we've never been in a society like this where we have like a people who have been relegated unfairly to a position of underclass be so close to people who are wealthy. So that's a large part of our confusion, right? We're around those people. We're around people. We don't have money, but we're around people. We look at it and we say, hey, I have the same 24 hours in a day. I have 2 hands and 2 feet. I'm right next to this wealthy person. I must not be that far away from them. And it's an illusion. And I think it's set up that way. But that's part of our confusion. That's part of our confusion in terms of who we are and what it means to be who we are.
Yeah, number 11's not working.
So there was a great, try 12. There was a great, article not too long ago.
12's up.
Yeah, put 12. So there's a great article. It's in Al Jazeera. You can look it up. Make sure you bring it down so people can see it. Make sure you can see the head so they can see Al Jazeera so they can know where to pick so you can look it up. But it talked about how these Africans who were also, spoke Arabic or whatever were considered white. And I say, well, why that is? Well, they wanted to out of Jim Crow. Well, you're asking me, Yvette, what did that have to do with what you're talking about? Well, hold on a minute. You just get too ahead of yourself.
They did not come all the way over here.
They did not come all the way over here to have to deal with Jim Crow. And somebody said that they said, well, I spoke Arabic, and the woman told me when we went to the school that the author of the article that I should mark white. That's what she told me. And then she said, the writer of the article said, one time we were on the bus, and the woman said, I don't want to be around all those N-words. You go sit next to those Indians, because she was wearing a headscarf or whatever. Right? So what I'm talking about in terms of how that relates, in terms of these Africans who were considered white and who did not come here to be with us, what I'm telling you is that this creates a lot of confusion. Well, why does it create confusion, Yvette? Let me tell you exactly why. It creates confusion because a lot of these people are the same people who will tell white people it's not that bad. I'm happy with my lot in life. America's land of opportunity. I don't know what's wrong with these black people. I don't want to be associated with them. So white people get confused and black people get confused. Everybody confused. Because then white people say to themselves, well, look, there are some black people who are doing well. I don't know what's wrong with you. Look at him. He has a company. You don't know that he had a company, that he was doing well before he got here. So you're confused as a white person. Then a black person, we're citizens in this country. But you know what we do? We allow other non-citizens come here and tell us about ourselves. That's not normally the way it works. Normally you have to come here and assimilate with us. If you're black and you want to be a part of us, you come and you adopt what we do. But we've allowed the opposite to happen. Well, you come and you have the upper hand and you tell us what we need to do. You have to know that there's something wrong with our group for us to allow that to happen. There's something wrong with us.
Well, they want to come here and adapt. They just don't want to adapt with black people.
No.
They want to be on the winning team.
So why do we want to adapt with them? That's my question. Like, if you're not an ally and you come here and you're confused in the whole thing, because that's how we get confused. We think black people have money. No, he's Nigerian and his father was in the government and he's not black like you. But what you mean? I saw him and he drives a nice car. No, they're confusing the dialogue. And it's not just them. Celebrities are confusing the dialogue. All these people are putting us in a position where we don't understand the consequence of blackness in this country. They're putting us in a position where we don't understand what it means to be a descendant of slaves. I'm all for anybody who is an African, who comes from any African country, who understands and says, hey, I'm down with you, I'm going to fight with you. I've read the books. I've read the books of African American history. I know what it is, and I'm down with you, I'm down with the fight. But that's not what a lot of times happens. Well, who gets in here a lot of times are the people who don't want to be down with that. who don't want to be a part of that, and then they confuse the whole conversation. So we look crazy talking about racism because we got all these people walking around talking about, well, I'm just happy to be here, and it's wonderful. And you're like, what happened? What you mean? So we can't even have a discussion. But and you know what Martin Luther King did was he made part of what he did in terms of who he is. Like, you can't, I know black people don't want to own it, but he trafficked on white sympathy and white empathy. You are diluting and diminishing white empathy and sympathy when you have all these people who have this stuff and who talk bad about black people. And it confuses people like this cashier. Like, celebrities confuse people like this cashier. And you believe like, oh, well, we must have some stuff too. And I got money to give away. I see black people doing stuff on TV and all this stuff all the time. And you don't understand what real life is anymore if you do that.
I got a comment on YouTube. So we have Darg22 says, but Yvette, Angela Rye has a black friend, and they're not struggling. Angela Rye went on MSNBC, said she's happy to be here. And by the way, I have a black friend, and me and my black friend, we go to brunch, and we're not struggling.
First of all, I think Angela Rye lying.
I think she's lying.
First of all, I think she lying.
I want to see her bank account. I want to see her student loans.
From now on, and she doesn't, like, people don't know how to count debt. If you have student loans, you're negative. You're negative. That's debt. There's nothing good about debt. Like, but I want to see from now on if somebody comes to me.
Angela Rye a liar.
I don't think that's the truth. Well, it's not a lie. I just don't think it's the truth that me and my friends aren't struggling. What kind of boule people are you? I don't know. Like, to not know black people who are struggling, like, what are you talking about?
I mean, she's got a lot of liars around her. It's not just Angela.
From now on, what I want to see, like, if you come to me and say, Yvette, I'm doing it. Like, somebody did this on my page and said, well, Yvette, I'm doing all right in this opportunity. Like, show me your bank account. Show me your bank account. Show me, if you say you invest, I want to see your investment accounts. I don't care who. You're not going to keep coming to me and just telling me stuff. I want to see it. Don't just come to me, well, Yvette, you know, I know a friend. Everybody know a friend. Everybody probably know of the same person. Show me the account. And nobody ever tells you when that mug goes broke. We don't ever want to talk about that. We just talk about the good stuff. I remember when he was rising to the top. But you don't remember when he got fired, do you? You don't remember when he got foreclosed on, do you? You just remember that he used to be a hot shot. Everybody used to be a hot shot, ain't a hot shot no more. So I think all of this stuff adds to the confusion so that this woman cannot understand the consequence of what is happening, of why she's at Walmart. She doesn't understand why she's at Walmart, why that's kind of like the ceiling right now for her, of her level of opportunity. She doesn't understand that. And that's a problem for all of us, right? That is a problem for who we are. And I think you say, well, what? Right before we go to the phones, I want to say something. People say, well, Yvette, what do you think should happen? Well, I think we need a descendants of slave card. I mean, I want, listen, as a descendant of slave, I don't even want my driver's license to be the same color as your driver's license. I want a driver's license that's like bright pink or something, or like bright green. That's what I want. I want a driver's license that's bright colored, that signifies that what differentiates me from you. And I want that card to have an advantage. First of all, I want to be able to apply for a job, and that card means something. Like, it means like I get extra weight.
Yeah,
well, you're this
you
much,
owe us.
Yeah, you're this much of a descendant of slave, so you get affirmative action in this category. You get number one priority, and it should be just no affirmative action. Affirmative action have number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the number one people should be descendants of slaves. You number one. And affirmative action number 2 could be something way farther down the list because you didn't build this country with free labor. So you don't get a strong number 2. You know what I mean? You get a real low number 2 and you fall down so that we can have jobs. You don't get to be nobody and just apply black out. No, I need to be able to hold my thing out. If you tell me, well, I'm black just like you, I need to be like, well, let me see your driver's license. Let me see if it's pink like mine. If not, you're not just like me. I need a driver's license. I need to say, you know how if you're a minor, you got a driver's license and it said minor across the top or whatever, like you were 15. You remember that driver? I need my driver's license to say descendant of slave across the top.
So like if Jamal goes against Kwame for a job, Kwame's gonna have to sit down.
Kwame gotta sit down. Jamal's gonna get it. Kwame is white. In terms of my affirmative action plan, Kwame is treated as white people, especially if he comes from a good African family. Kwame's white.
So we got Jamal, Tyrone.
We got Jamal, Tyrone, Shaniqua, Yvette. You know, Jennifer from Brooklyn. We got all of us. We got
all of them above Kwame.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, what's his name? Or Like? I mean, we got all. I'm not trying to down anybody. I'm just saying that like this is our claim, right? And I think if we had a card and we could look at the card, we would know who we are. Like the problem is we can't pull out our card. Somebody, let me see your license. We pull out our card and our card look different than everybody's card. I need our card to look different. I wish our card could just get out and jump around or something, but it can't. But I need our card to look different. I need our card, so I need something to signify to you that we're different and we have a claim that's special, that we occupy a special space in this country, and our citizenship means something, and that since our citizenship means something, it has to that has to be a quantifiable thing. You can't just have your citizenship mean something, but it's not quantifiable. You're like, well, I'm a citizen of America, but what does that mean? That's supposed to mean that you have more money than other people because you're in the richest country in the world. It's what it's supposed to mean. So I need us to have some kind of card or something that gives us a bump up in the line because our people got bumped down.
Hey, Jamal just showed up in chat. Jamal Strawman, you get the job.
Yeah, you get the job. Good job, Jamal. Let me see your Pete card. I need to make a copy of your descendant of slave ID.
I see you, Jamal.
And this could be a great thing. We could all go through our lineages and legacy and see, how many of us are sort of mixed, or how many of us are like, or like come from like, and there's a way to do this that when you could even get percentages, whatever, it don't matter. But you will be able to weigh it. I mean, mathematics is a beautiful thing. You could weigh it based on that. You could weigh it all based on that. In terms of the wealth transfer, you could find, if you found out that everything in your family was stolen, you could do that. I mean, it's a beautiful process, but we need our own special card. Native Americans have been able to differentiate themselves for a long time. They don't reservate. They've been able to differentiate themselves from the rest of the population to signify that we're Native Americans. We were here first, and we have a claim.
But that's not working for them.
It's not working. Well, it's not working because they didn't. It's not working because they just fought and they lost, and it's bad. Yeah. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it's like we worked the fields, and we were just like, all right, and that for better or for worse, it ended up with us building the richest country in the world. For better or for worse. I'm not criticizing Native Americans because I ain't got no, if this is your land, I see why you fight. Fight the good fight. But what I'm saying is, having labored to build the richest country in the world should have some advantages. That's all I'm saying. So you want to put the number up or?
Yeah, well we already got full calls. So I kick all these people out. And then
don't kick the people out. Don't kick the people out. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. See, I already been trying to kick the people out.
I got no ties to these people. They already know the number before we put it up. Anyway.
But I don't want to just have the same people. I hate not giving people a chance. To call. I don't know. So I hate not giving people a chance to call in. That makes me feel sad.
All right, we'll take this one.
Okay. We're going to go to the calls, folks. Hello? Hello?
Oh, it's Shirley.
Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me? It's me?
Oh, my God. It's Shirley. Shirley, you got a fan club.
Everybody?
You got a fan club, Shirley.
I love everybody. I love y'all. I thank you for following me on YouTube. I'm trying to keep up with Yvette. When I grow up, I'm going to be Yvette Carnell. I'm going to maybe I'll be light. I put that on my face.
Don't bleach yourself, Shirley. It ain't right. Don't bleach your skin, Shirley. It ain't right. That's wrong.
The truth will make you free. That's what the Bible says.
Uh-oh.
Hey, I just want to, I'm going to say something real quick because I'm let the callers call in. You continue to talk about trickle-up factor. I want to go back to Joe Louis. You remember Joe Louis, the boxer, and the sacrifices he made representing America?
Okay.
it's interesting because it falls in line with what you're talking about. Because Joe Louis at one point could have received revenue from his fighting, but he looked at it as a contribution to America. And in the end, America screwed this man. And you need to look up Joe Louis, the fighter.
Uh-huh.
And they screwed him. He died penniless, pretty much, and he was a doorman at the end of his life. Matter of fact, when he fought against a Russian fighter, and when he won, America loved and they praised him. But when time progressed, the Russian moved to America and partnered up with, I think, Coke or somebody. I'm sure you guys will do your homework on this. And they'll find out that the Russian became wealthier than him when he was the big highlight at that time. Okay. So we always make these sacrifices like, you know, we're supposed to follow the sword for these people, but in the end, they stabbing us in the back.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I can't lie about it, Shirley.
And Red Fox is another one.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I know Red Fox died broke.
Red Fox is another one.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, Sanford died broke?
So, you know, your trickle-down factor, your trickle-up factor, we have to identify where we at financially, mentally, spiritually, and financially, that we have the heart to give. But you got to remember, people, you can't put something in the well when you don't even own the well. You got to own the well and stop taking the crumbs off the table and own the factory. You got to think in that mentality, because in the end, we're in some strange times now with the way government is structured. We're in some strange times that we don't need to be in this crossfire, especially in California with the Fed and the states. We need to be prepared for that. But this trickle-up factor ain't working.
No, I agree, Shirley.
I love y'all.
I love you too, Shirley. Thank you. I appreciate the call. And you're right. Like this trickle stuff trickle up ain't working. And like she said, she was talking about Joe Louis, but a lot of civil rights icons and people who fought for black people, in fact, most of them died broke. What happened to Medgar Evers' family? I saw somewhere that like the head of Little Caesars or whatever was paying for Rosa Parks or whatever. Like a lot of these people died broke. We don't have no money to be giving away. Like she's right. It's just we need to become serious. Like you need to become adults. And being an adult means you don't just act on a whim. All of your actions are deliberate. We need to have intention in terms of how we live our lives. We need to be deliberate in terms of how we live our lives. That's what it means to be an adult. If you're just acting on a whim, you're not serious. You're not serious. And like Sherry said, we need to own the well. But you're not ready to own the well if you're acting like that. If you're acting out like that. You're not ready to own nobody well. You're not ready to own anything. You're not ready to do any of that. You gotta come with it. So, I mean, it is what it is. The truth is the truth.
Keep going.
Yep.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing tonight?
Good.
Good. Hey, this is your young man from Monday who's looking for the wonderful nuptials this fall.
Oh, I'm regular. How you doing?
Hey, look, the family that watches together stays together.
I'm great. Had to kind of sneak away to a little corner because I'm still at the workplace though. But,
Be careful.
Had to make sure I can listen to the show, and my fiance and I, we've been texting back and forth today about the show tonight. And as usual, you guys are on point. So we're looking at the numbers that you guys put up about raising children, and we're just, it's depressing. Like we're just looking at saying like that kind of information. It's depressing, but it's good to know, with your eyes open going into building a family, having children, et cetera, et cetera. And we were both commenting on how, us individually, we are lucky because her parents and my parents have, we know that they'll have a little bit that they can pass on. We know that we're luckier than, a vast majority of the community. And we recognize that and try to, just be honest about that when we have conversations with folks about this sort of thing. Because, in fact, I had a conversation earlier today on Facebook where I try not to have too many debates on these issues because it just usually ends up with you getting frustrated that, people won't listen to good factual information. But when I had brought up a comment, spoke on what, you and Irony speak on all the time, and Antonio bringing up the data about, middle black family, $1,700 in wealth, middle white family, 100K in wealth, single black woman, with a degree having 11K in debt, and a single black woman with no degree having 0 in wealth. Some pretty stark numbers. And, of course, you get the whole do for self arguments and, we just need to buy insurance so that, when life insurance or when the family dies, parents have something on or whatever. And, I'm going into how, hey, look, these are not things that happen because people are not saving, people are not investing, people are not going to school, getting married. Like the data says otherwise. Even an article that already stated as much. And so, of course, you get the arguments of the anecdotal evidence that's brought up, and it's like, well, anecdotes aren't data.
No, they're not. Say that again.
Hey, every person you say that is a success, I can
anecdotes
find
not data.
Doing all the right stuff and isn't a success.
Yeah.
Data is the lens to which you view the group. And then the answer I get, well, myself and the example that I just gave is the data. I'm like, no, that's a narrow lens. That's not the data. That's anecdotes. If that's all you're looking at, you're not really looking at true data. So, just frustrating. But you guys keep it up. I'm going to keep trying to have conversations with folks as I come across them. But like I said, you guys are doing a great job up there, and just keep bringing that info.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But one thing he said is very important to remember. He said anecdotes are not data. And I'm not saying anecdotes don't matter, because that is your life. But anecdotes are not data. When you want to know how the group is doing, you can't tell me how your cousin or how somebody you know from church or how somebody you know from your business or your business, and you can't know that. You can't tell me that. Anecdotes are not data. That's not the way it works. You know what our drinking game is? That's not the way any of this works. So when somebody tells you about one person, you can't live or base your life or your beliefs on what one person does or one person does not do or one person achieves. That person is an outlier. That's what we call an outlier. That's what we call an aberration. If this were fair, then you would have a whole segment of black people who were like that. You would have a whole middle class, a large middle class that was like that if things were fair. The fact that you got to point to one and you can't use the data to do that lets me know and lets everybody know that Houston, we got a really big problem. So.
All right, let's keep it going.
Yep.
Let's come here.
Hello?
How you doing?
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, I'm good, man. This is Chris from Brooklyn.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, man, you always talk about the data, and when you look at the data, you see a community in crisis. And when you have a community in crisis with nowhere to turn to, the political leadership isn't doing anything for you, you can't form a union, you tend to fall into magical thinking. And that's where the church comes in. And I was asking people about my job, what they thought about the story I showed them, and I work with a couple Christians. They come from the black church, and the way they view it, they didn't view it as her just throwing her money away. They viewed it as an investment, like she's planting a seed. And when you start having irrational beliefs like this, that's where the data comes in. That shows you're in crisis. You're not thinking rationally. Because if you're thinking rationally, the idea of just making 11 whatever an hour and just giving your money, and when you look at the data, you see somebody's doing better than you. Maybe not every last person is doing better than you, but as a community, they're doing better than you. And you decide to give that money away, that doesn't make any sense.
Thank you. Makes no sense. Thank you, caller. I appreciate that. No, it don't make. Right. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But what he said is great. What he said, magical thinking. This is magical thinking. Well, if I give it away, I'll get it back. And I wonder if anybody's ever taken a tally of how many times that happened. I'm not saying anything. I'm not talking about, I've said what I said in terms of the limits of morality in an immoral world. I've talked about that. So in terms of Christianity as a moral thing, there have to be limits to that as well. I don't see any way around it. Or you get into this thing of magical thinking. What the call described, this magical thinking. Well, if I do this, then it's going to happen. Black people have been the most Christian people in the world, and we're still on the bottom. So I'm telling you, not based on anything that I know, that something has to be done differently. There is something that we have to do differently. There are ways that we have to act differently if we want to get different results.
We got to play harder with our allies. We got to play harder with our allies.
We got to play harder with our allies. We got to be better. We got to be better at recognizing our allies. What have you done for me? You're not an ally just because you use words. Words have no effect. Words are not tangible. Words do not feed me. Words do not get my son, uncle, cousin, husband, father out of jail. Words do not do any of that for me. You have to talk about your allies in terms of tangible things that they have done to benefit your life. That's what allyship means. Tangible ways that your movement has been directed to benefit me, has been directed to benefit descendants of slaves, black people in this country. That is what allies are supposed to do. If you're not doing that on a regular basis, if you're just giving me words about how we're fighting for all brown people. Fighting for all brown people is not fighting for African Americans in this country. If that's all you're telling me, then I have to question whether or not you are my ally. And I said on my Facebook page a while back, I said sometimes you just have to ask people, who are you? You got to start asking people for their biography. Where are you from? What do you think? What are your views? Just don't say, yeah, brother, I'm your brother, or none of that. Or I don't care who you are, where you're from. Like, what have you been doing since you've been here to be a part of the African American community and to benefit us in terms of your own politics? And if you're not doing that, then why are we having this conversation? Because you obviously don't care about me in that way. And that's a problem. And I can't, black people, and I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. We don't check people. And you don't have to beat anybody up. You don't have to hurt anybody. You don't have to cuss anybody out to check them. But you just let them know. Listen, like, who you and why do you feel like you have a space to criticize me? You in this country with a visa. I got generations back. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to me like you crazy. As a matter of fact, don't talk to me at all. If you're going to talk to me like that, I decide whether or not to let you in. I control the gate. Okay? You have to think about with white women too. Listen, don't come to me talking about affirmative action when you sleep in the bed with the man who's made my life difficult, who's made my life hard. You have a wealth transfer. Don't talk to me unless you can be honest with me about how you have advantages that have disadvantaged me and what you're going to do about it. Let's talk about that. You're not a good ally if you can't do those things and come to me in a way that tangibly benefits my life and the life of other African Americans. If you don't do that, then why are we speaking? And why am I showing up at your march? Why am I showing up at the voting booth to benefit you in any kind of meaningful way? I'm not. And I won't unless you're going to come to me, unless you're going to show up for me. If you're going to play on my team, you're going to have to wear my jersey. Right now, as a black person, I don't see a lot of people wearing my jersey. I see people telling me, I hope you have a good game. But no, you got to get out there and fight. You got to get out there and tackle. Take some hits. Get some bones broke. That's what you got to do, but you ain't doing that. Don't tell me to have a good game. Screw you. You can't get out here with me, or I won't show up for your game either. That's what we do as black. We show up for everybody else's game. Get our bones broke. We lose teeth. Be doing all kind of stuff with their game when it's time to fight the other team. But they don't show up to our game. That's got to change.
Yeah. Democrats take us advantage. Maybe we should start holding the Democrats hostage. We don't have a lot of power in American politics because we're 13% of the population. But we can say, hey, Democrats, those are some nice programs you got there. It would be a shame if they went away.
Somebody said Team Black. And y'all going to leave my accent alone. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Where are you from again?
I'm from Decatur, Georgia, but y'all gonna leave me alone. We got another one?
Yeah, we got to pull up. We'll go here. Anonymous.
Hello, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hello?
Yes.
I'm great. You said about the white female. She's been in the bed with the guy who made your life hard. Okay? So what happens is we have to understand where we're getting it. It's not about hating white. At a house for $5, but you're not. It's really soft, and it's not. Because this guy, he's a good guy. It has nothing to do with hate. Zero. And I'm so glad that you guys are understanding what's going on, and that you guys are giving voice to a lot of people who could not articulate this on their own. And so keep going.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hear what she said. The guy don't make that much more than her, but he had never paid rent. He had never paid a car note. He never done all these things. See, you thinking the white person beside you is on your level. He's not on your level. He's just not telling you. He's just not telling you the money that he gets. The white girl beside you is just not telling you the money she gets and the wealth transfers that she gets. Because like I said, they communicate with us through struggle. So they're not going to tell us because they don't want us to know. Like, no, I'm going to talk to you about struggle. Ooh, the paycheck. They need to give us a raise, girl, and start talking. And then that's how they communicate through us. But they have all sorts of, that's a wealth transfer. Not having to pay rent is a wealth transfer. Not having to pay a car note is a wealth transfer. But they just don't tell us about it. But it happens all the time. It happens all the time.
Bring it home. The issue isn't now, and this is something we need to bring home to the people. The issue now isn't income. The time where income was the issue was a few decades ago. Now it's about wealth. Now it's about how much did your baby boomer parents make? Did they make as much as the white baby boomer parents? Because that's the story of America right now. It's about wealth inequality, not about income. And we know Donald Trump isn't going to do anything about the state attacks. So it's about wealth.
And wealth is calcifying at the very top. Yeah. Wealth is calcifying and it's moving up at breakneck speed. Like I said, what I want you all to do, if you have any time, go look at like the 2010 Forbes list of the most richest and the 2016. And the one thing you see is people like Jeff Bezos are just like amassing more and more wealth, something that we haven't seen before. This is unlike anything that's ever existed on the planet, this wealth. And so somebody said on the page, like, these people are fake struggling. And that's what's happening. Just like they're not telling you. So you feel like you're like them. And I'm not talking about just the richest of the rich. But that's all that money is going up. All that money is going up. It's going up to the top faster than we've ever seen it going up before. And what that means, like I said before, is your background matters. Your background matters more than ever. Because you can't out-earn it. You can't out-earn your background.
Exactly.
Not in the oligarchy.
So, like, there's nothing wrong with being descendants of slaves, Jim Crow, and sharecroppers. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. We didn't do anything. Like,
no. We didn't like, I don't want to. Just make me a slave. I don't feel good.
That was never what this was about. But we just have to admit that means, like, our background is poverty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like,
and it means that's like an albatross around our neck because see the thing is here's the thing with black people. Most black people can't pass. And most black people ain't gonna pass. People want to know who your people are. The problem with that, in terms of not being white people, black people are not white people, is that people can look at you and tell that you come from a slave. And so nobody wants to be a part of it because they look at us and say, well, you come from a slave. Nappy hair, you got skin color, you come from a slave. Right? Now, a lot of immigrant groups do their best to differentiate themselves from us. Say, hey, no. I don't come from a slave. I'm not them people. No. Don't you confuse them with them. Don't you confuse them African Americans. Don't do it. So what we have to understand is that that's like an albatross around our neck, and you don't fix that by telling white people to be nicer. The only way you fix that is to give us or find a way to get us the wealth transfers that we didn't get because our people were slaves, so that we can we're here with you as equals. That's the only way you fix that. Because nobody wants to take on a burden. Like, think about it. You know, you marry somebody, like, you got to worry about if they're going to get fired for discrimination. You know, if they're going to get arrested because of mass incarceration. All those things are things you have to worry about if you take on, you know, being with somebody black. You want that to go away, and that goes away only with wealth. That doesn't go away with, like, well, police, be nicer.
No, and that's not individual wealth. That goes away with black people wealth, community wealth.
Yes, that doesn't go away with one Negro getting rich. No, it don't go away. It goes away when we all have a wealth transfer, so we're secure. Okay, we're secure. We're equals now. We're not an underclass no more. That's what has to happen.
All right. Keep it moving.
Yep. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Yvette?
Yes.
Hi, I got through.
Yay! ahead. Woo,
Hi, Yvette.
Hello. Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
You know what? I got a whole list of things I wanted to talk to you about this like a month ago, and I'm finally getting through. But, I just feel like I live in between. I can't identify myself right now.
That's fine. I understand.
We got a lot of callers who are scared to.
HBCU and a prison. I'm like less than 4 miles from each.
Okay.
And when I go out, I'm an older woman. I have no one to talk to down here. I have to listen to your show because I have nobody else to talk to down here when I talk about anything other than Desperate Housewives and all these shows on TV. And when I talk to them about being a black person, a descendant of slaves, these people look at me like I'm crazy. I think a big problem we have is that black people don't want to have pride in who we are. Yeah. We are in denial of who we are. We're trying to fit in with everybody else, keep up with everybody else. And I have seen people out here that empty bank accounts trying to keep up with people that we cannot keep up with because we don't have it.
No, don't
I mean, we're in denial about being poor. We got a caste system war going on in between black people. Like, I got more than you. You're not doing anything right. You're doing something wrong. I'm doing something right. And it is horrible down here. I can tell you, I'm in Maryland. And it is bad. I mean, most of the children down here end up in that prison that I'm telling you about. Have hard going to the college. The majority of them go to the prison. And you can't even get people down here to even talk about that. I've been trying to get programs started, something started, and they don't even want to hear it. So, I mean, if we can stop being in denial about the fact that we're doing bad, nobody wants to address that. Everybody is trying to find an excuse. My family's doing okay over here. That person over here is doing okay. Overall, in mass, we're doing bad in this country. Yeah. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Am I talking too much?
No, you're fine.
I'm sorry, I don't hear talking.
No, you're fine.
But, I mean, my family did it. They did it. Everybody is up in arms because my daughter, I had 7 children. My daughter is the youngest. This girl made almost $20,000 last year. Plus, she's in college, too. And, I mean, they were all the people around me. Oh, she's doing so good. My daughter worked 3 jobs to do that and went to school. My husband is working all together. We make a lot of money, but what we did is we listened to your show and we deducted everything that we owe out, and we don't have any money.
Yeah.
We are home. We are minus. Yeah. I mean, we bring a lot in, but we owe so much out. And we don't have any other black people in here we can talk to about that because everybody is pretending that everything is okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I just think we got to get out of this illusion of these stars on TV, these sports players, all of this other stuff that are put out there to make us think that we're doing okay. We are broke. I was born in the 60s, I know. And there was a time when I got a great, as far as generational wealth, my great-grandfather worked down at the ACLU Railroad in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Well, that company didn't close down. When those white people did that, they transferred that company over to other white people. They all drew money off of it. My grandfather migrated to Philadelphia, broke, living on welfare. But those people got money.
Yeah.
And then the black workers there, I looked it up. I looked up my roots down there. All the black people down there, they died broke. But the white people down there, they ended up getting money, stocks and all out of that company. So until we can take some pride in being black people and take some pride in our ancestors, they worked. Yes. They worked until the muck fell from their bones. And how can we ask the government and we all walk around talking about we doing all right?
We can't. We can't. We can't.
Oprah's doing okay, LeBron's doing all right. Then you come down here in administration because they got a cubicle or a desk or a little office and some nice little pointy shoes to put on there. Doing all right. Everybody's doing all right. So how we gonna get together and ask the government for anything if we in denial about anything?
Right. Good.
I'm not. I'm sorry.
No, you.
And as far as those foreign people, let me tell you something. Two people on my family work at two companies. I'm not gonna call their names out, and it's nothing but foreigners at that place. They make more than we do. They get more hours than we do. They don't take any taxes out of their pay. They put them through school, and we don't get anything at these two companies. I can tell you right now. Okay, me, my husband, and two of my sons work at companies down here. They do not take. They don't take taxes out of their money. I mean, they get so many benefits. We don't get any benefit. And since they had this walkout, they've been firing their behind. Nobody's talking about that. They've been getting rid of a lot of them. So I'm done because I went all night. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, she's right, but she said a lot of good stuff. So I'm gonna try to get to it.
Notes, right?
Yeah, I was taking notes, but let me just get to one of the things that she said to get that out the way. I did see somebody sent me an email of all the immigrants who got fired for walking out of work. That's some kind of luxury to think you can walk out of work and protest and be like, you need Immigrants Day. Well, obviously they didn't. They got rid of you. But I did see that nobody, and really that didn't make it. That didn't make a big story. I think I saw it on NBC. It really didn't get a big story. So she's right. I think in terms of what she said about denial, I think that's true. I think maybe we need like Descendants of Slaves t-shirts, because that's always a pushback when people say, I'm tired of slave movies. I want a slave movie every week.
Until I get redressed.
Yeah, until I get redressed. You don't ever hear a Jewish person say, I'm tired of Holocaust movies. No, I want you to remember what you did and that you still haven't made it right for me.
Because it makes it easier for them to lobby for Israel.
Yeah, they do that because it makes them difficult. Because if they do that, part of the reason the Jewish people do that is because it makes it, like Irony said, it makes it easy to lobby for Israel. So it keeps what happened fresh in the mind. And if you keep it fresh in the mind, if you just saw Schindler's List on DVD, or you just read a book, Elie Wiesel, then it fresh in your mind. Okay, well, this happened to them and this was horrible. I need America to keep understanding this happened, and this is horrible.
And we're still broke.
I would prefer that some of the actors in these movies be African American because they're descendants of slaves. They can't seem to get a job no more. But that's a whole nother story. In terms of what she said about the delusion, I think that goes with what I just said. We're like in denial. Like we just want it to be different. It's almost like a kid, like you believe in wish fulfillment. If I say it's different, it's different. Let me click my heels together 3 times, it's different. It's different because I say it's different. No. And part of it is we don't understand what real wealth is. You got a job, be like, I got a job, I got a car. That don't mean nothing. That doesn't mean anything. And we have this delusional, like so many of us live in this delusional space that it's almost like we've made up a make-believe world for ourselves that doesn't really exist. And we just run with it. Because it makes us feel good psychologically. I think we're going to have to grow up and grow out of that. And we're going to have to help push people out of that. And because it's going to make them uncomfortable. You're probably going to lose a friend or two. But that's just life. Like, we can't live in that space. This is our tribe right here. Everybody lying. Like, why everybody lying? I'm doing fine. And then you want the government to do something. When you go around and tell Trump. And when Trump said, you live horribly. Oh, what are you talking about? He don't know how we live. We live all right. Well, shut up. So what is it? What's the point?
I don't know. Antonio said he reminded you.
Oh, I don't know anything about it. Well, I mean, I think I don't know. I just think we have to get out of denial. Like, that's one thing they tell you. Like, even in grief, what they tell you is don't be in denial. Don't be in denial. Denial is not a good thing for you. Hold on one second. I mean, I think what people need to understand too, the legacy of slavery in terms of wealth codifying at the top. You have to understand what slavery means. It means during that position where everybody was amassing wealth. There was a position where everybody was amassing wealth. That was the same time when we were enslaved.
Family farms.
That moment is gone. So now we're here, and all that money and new money that came after that is all the way up there. And since our people didn't have an opportunity, even during Jim Crow when we tried to do it, we just got the door shut. And so now you have to think about what that means in terms of the codification of wealth at the very top and what that means for your individual life. In terms of not being able to catch a time, not being able to, first of all, make yourself white, and then second of all, go back in time to be in that period and have money and make wealth and amass wealth and then come back here. It will have to be a science fiction movie for you to be all the way up there. And so what we need the government to do is to fix it. You got to find a way to fix it, and you cannot back off from that. There's no way to back off from that. So now we can keep it moving.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. This is Lee in Kansas City. I've been listening to your show for a while, and I love you.
Thank you.
Tell your friends. I wanted to ask a question. I know that you speak about allowing black people to have jobs in order to make a better future for themselves. But I wanted to ask and see, what do you think about having part ownership in like the country, like the production of the country? And here's what I mean by that. Money is a result of everything that is produced in the economy. So maybe if black people had more stake in things that are produced and made and ownership in that, we'd be a little bit better off. We could start to accumulate the wealth that you're talking about, the generational wealth that you're talking about.
She's right. She wants black people to actually get into the big industries and actually have ownership stake in them.
No, I think that's true, but I don't think we can do it. Like that's something that we can do as a group. Like those people, like the thing about it is don't underestimate the viciousness of the people who own everything. They will not let you in. They will not have a crumb. You will have one crumb and they'll snatch it to be like starve. Like they're not going. So the question means,
there's no black caterpillar, right?
Yeah, the question becomes how do you get there? That would be like if we owned land and we own resources, that would be wonderful. But the people who are there are not going to let us there.
The question. Okay, so Ted Turner.
Go ahead.
So my next question would be after that statement would be, so would the solution to that kind of be just to not leave us alone, but kind of just let us, like with Tulsa, Oklahoma, we kind of have to rely on ourselves to get the things that we needed. We created a transportation system, banks, and other businesses where we were completely independent, where we needed to function on our own as a group. So do you think that maybe the solution is to kind of go back there? Because it seems like we get a lot of sabotage from the other side. But maybe we should kind of just...
But here's the thing, we got sabotage back then too. Like they came there and because we had stuff, they burned it down and destroyed it. Like the thing is the thing to understand is that they never leave us alone. They will never leave us alone. Like if you go somewhere and there's a bunch of poor people, like they will come in and find a way to try this. They will never leave us alone. And that's why for me, people say, oh, Yvette, you think too much about government. Because government is the only entity strong enough to be like, you got to get them government contracts and stop messing with them. Stop destroying everything they have. The government allowed them. It was police officers and political figures who allowed them to come into Tulsa and destroy everything that we built. And I don't know if that would never happen again. So I don't see a way to kind of go backward. Government, but I do believe that if you had a president like Obama could have mandated, right, that so much of the government contracts went to black people, that would have been a step in the right direction of doing what you talked about. Government contracts, stop going to Harvard and start going to Howard. Defense contracts, stop going to McDonald's and start going to Jamal or people with small businesses, and we build our way up. I think that's the small thing. I'm not talking about... Go ahead.
Well, that being said, it's not a big secret that the government, much of the government is backed or financed or funded or however you want to word it by big industry.
Right.
So, it wouldn't make sense that the government is getting most of like political figures and things like that, for lack of better way of saying it. If they're being funded by big industry, I don't think that the government would have any incentive to kind of just work with us on that side. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what
I forget the term for it.
Yeah, no, that what
the government is own corporation.
The word for it is government capture. The government has been captured by corporations. There's a government capture, and so we don't. It's like a plutocracy and the oligarchy, all in the same. Like we've been, but what you have to do is force Democrats to be Democrats. You have to make hell for Democrats and force them to do something different than what they've been doing. What they've been doing is really being Republicans. You have to force them to go to what it means to be a grassroots, party, or you have to say, I'm not coming out. I will vote for a third party. I'm not doing this. You're not gonna not give me a piece of the pie, and I come out and vote for you every 4 years for what? Why am I vote for you for Hillary Clinton? What am I voting for you for? You're gonna because you're better than Trump. You're not gonna put any money in black people's pockets. And to me, that's why, in terms of me and Iron, what we do here, that's why that's our slogan. Right. What are you gonna do to put money in black people's pockets? Oh, you're not gonna do anything? Well, I'm gonna vote for somebody else and stay home.
Yeah, we don't have the money to be cutthroat in business, but we can be cutthroat in politics.
And we can be cutthroat in politics.
Start being mean.
That's one of the only things we have. That's what a citizenship is about. We do have our politics. And I think we've been far too forgiving. Well, Trump is a racist. Well, this is that. I don't care. I don't care. I ain't voting for Hillary. I know that. I ain't vote for Hillary. Either I vote third party or I'm a strategically not stay at home because I'm lazy, but I will stay at home before I do that. I don't care. I'm not doing that no more. I'm not gonna be that pawn for you anymore just to keep you in power and I get nothing. No, I need some contracts too. I'm here.
Exactly. We're not rolling over anymore.
No.
Go ahead.
You
guys are going to spark conversation, so thank you for letting me be on and ask my question.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I think something we have to understand is that we tend to not think of the inverse of things, right? So we think of wealth calcifying at the very top, but we don't think about what that means in terms of the rest of us, in terms of black people. So we think, okay, they got money, but I can get money too. No, wealth calcifying at the very top means that your negative calcifies too. That money calcifies at the top, and our negative wealth calcifies. So we both become entrenched. We become entrenched in having less than nothing. And they become entrenched in having everything and then some. That's what this means. And that's why you have to fight like everything to change it. Because that's what it means. That's why you have to be like, screw Hillary. I'll vote for somebody else before I vote for you, because you have shown me no plan that will put money in the pockets of black people. I don't want to hear your words. I don't want to hear about what you did and in terms of your tell me what you're going to do in terms of all these government contracts. It's so many government contracts. You could just outline or line up some of them and say 5% of these, like 5% we're talking about the research contract are going to go to historically black colleges, and 5% of these contracts are going to go to black businesses. Period. We're going to say SBA loans going to go 15-20% to black businesses. Period. All of this stuff can be done.
Guys named Tyrone and Jamal, not Kwame.
Not Kwame. You just can't put it like, well, I'm an African business. No, Alike. No, that's not what we're doing here. Now, if you want to be friendly with us, you got to go somewhere and sit down. Now, unless you're going to secure us some contracts in Ghana or Nigeria or wherever you from, and you got some stuff going on, that's fine. But you just can't come up here and be like, I'm black. No.
Give me the contract.
Who you, Alike? Who you? Okay? And I mean, because I tell people all the time, I used to be one of the main ones. I used to be one of the main ones who was in favor of every immigrant you brought me. Come here, we're black together. And it's not just him. Like, we have to understand that not everything is the same. And you have to be mean to liberal white women. Don't nobody care if you upset, you cry. Don't nobody care. Run, fly like the wind. You're going to have to break some bones. It's just like what I said about the field. You ever been watching football and you see a running back running or a wide receiver, he catch the ball, and you see two people tackle him and just crunch his body? And like he dropped the ball and he fumbled because what else could he do? Because he probably pulled his pants too. Like, you need to be out there for us like that. If you can't be out there for us like that in terms of playing on my team, I can't come out to the ballot box. I just can't. I'll come out and vote for my local elections, but I won't. Especially depending on where you live. Where you live, it might be a Republican or somebody who's very conservative against your interest sneaking in. But I'm not voting for you. I'm not coming out for you. It's just not going to happen. Somebody said, "Where Yvette Kool-Aid cup?" Right here. Yeah, keep going.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Praise the Lord. You know, the Word of God, I heard the lady, she said earlier, she was referring to the Bible. The Word of God said, wisdom cries out, and she utters her voice in the streets. Proverbs 1:20. I hear everything that you're saying, my sister, and I agree with you. And I like to say that we need to stop just listening to you and being entertained and look into our pocketbooks and see how we can send you some money today.
Thank you.
I like where he went with that.
We need to stop being entertained. And we need, every time you tune into this station, you need to look in your pocketbook and say, how much can I send this sister today?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, I'm not gonna take long, because I'm gonna tell you something. If I was just given a fraction of a minute, I would tell you that I would like to see a Carnell Group International. Number one, I would like to pay that group monies every month, like we pay prepaid legal. I would pay that group just like we pay for media representation. You want Washington representation? We need media representation. Pay the sister now. And then we should also try to put together a Carnell Group International convention where all the people that think like you be like you. They will be at this convention. And we need to start cooperating our lives where we can live together. If you have income, I have income, then let's rent a house where we can sit up there and if we have 4 rooms, we rent the other 2 of people that think the same, people that believe in the same.
Community.
Cooperate. Yes, the whites do it.
Yeah.
The Mexicans do it. The Chinese do it. And there's another thing that we're concerned about, that, a lot of things that you said, I can see it being done, but it has to be, you have to understand that there's some wicked things that have come in. And one of them is that this United States of America is like a shareholder. It has brought in the Indians. It has brought in the Mexicans. And they paid to be here. It has brought in the Asians. They paid to be here. You can come up with $500,000 and you can get a certain visa and you're in. You are an American. These people have paid to come in there and they have votes. And their votes are, no, we will not give the blacks anything. I've had an Indian person tell me that right in North Carolina. We ain't giving you nothing. We are struggling with something here that's far greater than, but we can beat this thing. And another thing, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to close with this, okay? I believe in prayer. I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. I believe in him. Now, a lot of people ain't there yet, and that's all right, you know what I mean? You pray for them. You pray for yourself first, and then you pray for them. The image that we have of Christianity today is not Christianity. So we need to get that straightened out. It's another gospel. It's not the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. But I'm going to tell you the importance why prayer is so important. Years ago, I had a lady that I helped. And I said, listen, I don't want no sex. There's no personal involvement. I just want to see you get on your feet. And I put out some money. And to make a long story short, she took advantage of me. And one of the things that I remembered about her is that this light-skinned woman had tattoos. And I prayed about it. I said, Lord, help me with this image of this woman so that I don't hate her, that I can pray for her. And then here it is, he did. So now here it is, I'm faced with another situation where I have to trust a woman. And I'm saying, okay, I'm going to trust this woman because the Lord promised me that he would make this thing work for me. You see, you can't go against wisdom. When somebody is saying something and they utter their voice and they're saying the things that have to be said, you have to look at those scars, whether they're tattooed, whether it's scars, bullet scars, whatever it is, and you have to say those are scars. Those are scars of the battlefield. And you have to move on. If the person is telling you the things that you need to hear, and you say and you pray about it, and they are the wisdom in it, you said, hey, we have to help this person. So I'm saying, to close this line out, I would like to speak to your producer, because I'm going to make a donation. Okay. And I want to send a letter, a personal letter with this donation. And we're going to start, hopefully, the Carnell Group Incorporated.
Thank you, caller. I appreciate that. Thank you, caller. I appreciate that.
I'm gonna take that guy's number.
Okay, go do what you got to do. I would. One of the things I would say, one of the things that was very important that what the caller said about donations. You pay for everybody that you watch on TV. Like, I don't think people understand that when you pay for cable, you're paying to see Don Lemon. You're paying to see Fox. All those people, that's part of what you're paying. That's part of what you're paying for. Like, you know, when you donate to Breaking Brown, part of what you're paying for is you're paying for the books that we read. You're paying for the lights in here. You're paying for us to come here and consistently do that. And I think people say, well, you just on YouTube, it's not a cost. We make I spend a good part of the day just kind of jotting down notes and trying to figure out like what I'm going to use in terms of and how I'm going to frame the conversation, the clips I'm going to put up, to have these conversations and have them in a way that's beneficial to black people. So you're always going to pay. In the capitalist side, you're going to pay. The question is, who are you going to pay? And are you going to pay somebody who is part of your community, who has your best interest at hand? And what I tell people all the time is that, listen, it's up to you to hold me accountable. It's up to you, no matter how I go and say, hey, to kind of tug on me and be like, hey, Yvette, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for us, no matter what happens. So that's something that's something that's kind of a big deal. And who the people that owe you, like, it's a big deal that they owe you. That's not a small thing. That's not a small thing. So, you can go to www.breakingbrown.com and there's a link on the side that you can make a donation to Irony and I and what we do here. You can go to donatebrown.com and, of course, subscribe to Brown, because I don't want to, like I say, I always say go to subscribetobrown.com because I don't want to just be stuck here and not have access to the people I talk to if something happens with Facebook or YouTube. And again, always like this show, share it with your friends. And I think, he's right. We might have to get to a point where we're building community. When we're around people, we can have conversations with people, because that's important. I don't want to just be around people who just talk about stuff that's not important or think I'm crazy for talking about stuff that really matters. So we might have to think about building community. And
the best way to do that actually is organize listening parties, guys. Organize listening parties. Every Monday and Wednesday night, get together. Or on the weekends, we're on YouTube. So just sit down and watch this show, then talk about it.
And I'm gonna tell you,
that's better than a book club.
If we would have raised enough money, what I would do is I would if you start a listening party, if we raise enough money, I would go to different states and be there directly with you. Like on a day that's not Monday and Wednesday, but we broadcast and just be there and talk about stuff and talk about books and talk about stuff. And I think eventually we're gonna have to come to a point. We have a lot of people have requested a reading list. So I think, we might do that as well. But I think those are a lot of ways that we can expand and we can have the conversation person to person, block to block. We can do that. We can build a different kind of community. I believe we can do that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
Another caller?
Yeah, let's take. I think this will be our last one. You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see who the lucky person is. Ooh, do you know what 424 is from?
No, I have no idea.
We'll find out. Ask them where they're from.
Hey, I got through.
Hey, where you from? Where you from? Your area code? Where you from?
Compton.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't even know young people.
No, 424 is new. I don't know.
How are you?
424
I'm good.
is new.
How are you?
I don't know.
Fine. Oh, I'm so glad I got through because I have something I want to share with you guys. But I'm glad that today your topic is about wealth, because I'm 30 years old. And I keep stressing the fact that, we need to do, build wealth for ourselves and for our generations to come. And, my grandmother has worked her whole life in this country. And now she's old, she's getting demented, and she's leaving nothing behind but a burden on the family. I mean, it sounds rude, but it's the truth. So, first of all, okay, I said she's elder, she's getting demented, which means dementia. She hasn't filed taxes in about 7-8 years. IRS, the IRS is garnishing her Social Security. Never heard of that, but it happens. And with that being said, we live in California. We have a Medi-Cal system. Over 65, they usually qualify for it, just because of the age. She can't get Medi-Cal because she owes the IRS. So we have to pay for everything out of pocket. So my thing is now, seeing all this, it's been going on for a while, but I have dedicated myself to prepare for retirement. And it's like, that's all I'm thinking about is the future. Not so much about me, but setting up for my kids. I have 2 boys. They're still little, but, once I get at that age, I want to make sure that I have a foundation that's laid for them. So, like the way I'm so sorry, I'm nervous.
No,
the way that I'm, investing my money, I'm putting it into like life insurance accounts because I don't know too much about stocks, but I know a little bit about life insurance, so that's like one way that I'm trying to do it. And then I'm also encouraging my friends to, study and, let's get some stuff going and let's build some communities and start our businesses and stuff. But every time I start talking to them, everybody's so much in denial. They rather buy Jordans and jewelry. They tell me I act like I'm white. So I just want to know, do you have any suggestions that I can continue to build wealth for my family?
I mean, in terms of building wealth, for your family, I don't. That's the thing about wealth calcifying at the very top. Like we have a limited number of options. And I know one of the things that happens is that like a lot of black people don't want to hear that we have limited options. And part of the reason your grandmother, bless her heart, in terms of dementia, part of the reason that she didn't have a lot of stuff she had is because of how she had to live and how she had to scrape by. And how she had to scrape by is direct consequence of like where she came from. That's a direct consequence of like where she came from in terms of what she was descended from. So especially in terms of where she is now, like I don't have any suggestions in terms of how you would build something for her. But that's why we need community. That's why we need community.
But for me and my children.
Yeah, but yeah. The only thing, like what you have to do is like the thing that I tell black people is that like you have to not be reckless. Like that's what you have to do. Like you have to find something, keep it, do the best you can with it. And don't be reckless. This is why I said this black woman was reckless. You don't give away. You don't have $100 to give away, right? You don't have $100 to give away. Understand who you are. Get in a position to where you are bringing home a weekly wage, a paycheck, or whatever, and just stack it. You don't have the luxury of going out and be like, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna do this. No, stack it and find other ways. Stack your money and find ways to do stuff with your family. You don't have to go out. You don't have to go out to eat. I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying that's gonna make you wealthy, but I'm saying get back to community. We've gotten into this
something, right?
Yeah, get back into community.
And that's what makes me mad about the immigrant situation because, like I said, my grandma paid blood, sweat and worked hard in this country. And somebody who ain't never worked a dime a day in their life, they can come over and get medical and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's a lie. Ooh. It really makes me mad.
No, I understand. I understand exactly what you're saying. You're saying that your citizenship and your legacy and the lineage and what your grandmama had to work for don't mean nothing. And like that's what you're saying. And it should mean everything. In the richest country in the world, it should mean everything. But what I'm saying, people say, oh, Yvette's telling us to be unhappy. I'm not telling you to be unhappy. But what I'm telling you is that these people, every time you leave your house, every time you move somewhere, these people are trying to do something to separate you from your money. The whole game is to get you to give money back to white capital. Now, I'm not saying that not doing that's going to make you rich, but we have to find other ways. Have meals with your family. Enjoy your family. Be there for your family. You don't have to be buying the next this or the next that. It's not going to make you rich not to buy it, but you can have something. You can have a community where you all have something stashed away, where you're all okay. And unless government intervenes, that's probably still not going to be enough. But we have to stop letting these people take advantage of us. They can't take it. We got to stop letting them take advantage of us with this game. We're having us think we always got to chase after stuff. They're taking advantage. And it's hard because that's what Madison Avenue does. That's their game. And they're good at it. And everything is designed. Like, if you can't even go without buying a new iPhone because your iPhone will stop working. They'll tell you your apps won't update. So they have it set up. That's the game, right? Right, that's the game. They have it set up that way, but at every chance that you have to try to navigate around it and not buy a bunch of stuff and not do a bunch of stuff, that's a good thing to do. If you can do that, that's a good thing to do. I'm not saying it's gonna make you rich, but we have to find other ways to make ourselves happy that don't involve making. It would definitely help. Yeah, that don't involve. We have to find ways to make ourselves happy that don't make white people rich. That's what we gotta do.
Okay, I like it. Yeah. So I just wanted to put it out there that, you know, you got to take care of yourself, because they even sent me a letter, and it tells you straight out. They sent me a Social Security statement stating that, you know, you need to find other ways to supplement your income, because Social Security is only going to pay you 40%, you know? So it's like, woo, you got to really think like, okay, how are we going to make it when we get old? So
they don't want you to retire. They want you to fall out. They don't want you to retire. They don't want you to retire. They don't want us to retire. They don't want that. Thank you, caller. I appreciate it. But they don't want us to retire.
Thank you, Yvette.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. I love you. But they don't want us. They don't want us to retire. Poor people don't supposed to get to retire. We just fall out dead on the job or go live in some little shanty. You think the people in South Africa care that all these people who go to work every day live in shanties? They don't care. They don't care whether you retire. And like, we have to navigate through this ourselves. They don't care. Like, you have to stop thinking like, well, you know, I think, you know, look, they got these in South Africa. There was a great article about how they're considering a minimum wage. I think it was in the New York Times. And talking about all the people go to work every day. Black people in their own country go to work every day and they still live in shanties. Like little metal things they put up, makeshift homes. They don't care. They never want us to have Social Security. That was something that they fought tooth and nail. They don't want to do it. And I'm saying every time we always talk about put money in black people's pockets. Every time you have the opportunity not to kind of put money in white people's pockets, I think you might want to take it. Now, I understand we live in a capitalist society. You can't avoid that 100% without being miserable. I'm not saying that you never order nothing from Amazon. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that, like, you got to stop chasing stuff for the sake of chasing it and for validation and to make you feel a certain way. No, we got to go back to our roots. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. I think it was another great show. As always, like I said, subscribe, like this. Don't forget to share. And Monday and Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when we're here. I'm looking in the comments. I want to see what everybody has to say. And we'll see. We got to fix this though.